Today, on Coming Up with Manny, we have Anna the Honey Badger Sommers. She's a woman that wears many hats. She's an MMA fighter, she's a coach. Enjoy the interview.
A little water and a song. Stop the day you're bright, you can't go wrong.
I made you know it's true. Mr. Potato Head, I made you.
This is an animal with a reputation. The snake-eating, jackal-chasing, bad news honey badger.
Anna the Badger Sommers, how's it going?
Good.
How's the little badger doing?
She's doing a lot better. She had the flu yesterday, so that was fun.
Yeah, I saw your Facebook, how well, at least she's feeling a little better. And as she said, there's no more puking going on, so that's good.
Yeah. She doesn't hold back details.
Yeah, hey, most kids don't.
Every time we're at the gym, she goes to potty, number 2, and she comes out on the mats and she tells everybody, I went poop!
Everybody just claps, huh?
Yep. Everyone's awesome. They cheer for her.
You gotta encourage it,
Yep.
So, Anna, you wear a lot of hats, and that's what's really interesting about you. So, not only are you an MMA fighter, I see you're also coaching as well, alongside your husband Danny, right? You guys own Intercept MMA?
Yeah, so I help him out a little bit with the regular classes, like the intermediate, and then for the fight team, for the most part, I'm strictly a student, and then I also teach kids and fundamentals of MMA.
So you're also,
yes,
but you're also,
and then I also homeschool my daughter.
So you're a teacher, an MMA fighter, you're sometimes a coach, and you're a mother.
And a cook, apparently.
Are you a good one, though?
I like to think I am.
So
you'll have to ask Danny.
oh, we'll get him on one day. Question, though. On your Facebook, you post a lot of vegan recipes. Are you guys strictly vegan?
So we are not. A couple months ago, my husband had some gallbladder issues. He ended up having it taken out, and he's been having stomach issues for a long time. So we're slowly transitioning to plant-based just to see how it goes. And it is way too difficult to cook for meat for one person. It's like too many different meals. My daughter has never eaten meat. If she does, it's like she'll have my dad's barbecue ribs. That's about it. So I've tried everything from like blending it and mixing it into things, and she just doesn't. She can taste the texture of meat. She doesn't want it. So I've always been kind of more. For me, diet-wise, when I'm in camp, I would always eat chicken. Now I've switched to like egg whites. So I'm not totally vegan, and I still, when I have cheat meals, I'll occasionally have chicken. But I'm not really eating red meat in general. For a while, I was eating a lot of red meat before my last fight, just to try to put on some decent-sized muscle, and in turn, I ended up just feeling slow. And I switched to plant-based right before my last fight, but I don't think I had a long enough time of doing that, so I did gas out actually pretty bad in my last fight. But I also threw a lot more strikes than I normally would, so that could have also played a factor. Yeah, I feel like since I've done the plant-based thing, I feel like my cardio, without even having to do cardio-based workouts, is like astronomically better. So, I don't know. Maybe it's related, maybe it's not. It's working, so.
Hey, after a few fights, you'll definitely know for sure.
Yeah, and I normally, like, when I was eating meat, I was walking around between, like, 120 and, like, 125, 126 in that area.
So you weren't cutting that much weight then, right?
I'm sorry, what?
So you weren't cutting that much weight then?
I wasn't, you said?
Yeah, you weren't. Like, what do you fight at? 115, right? And then sometimes 120?
No, I fight at 105, so.
Oh! Okay.
Yeah.
Okay, never mind. That's a lot of weight.
I was cutting a decent amount, and so, I don't know if you know, but I have lupus, and it attacks my kidneys, so I can't cut a lot of water. So that means my diet has to be, like, insanely strict, so that I can diet to, like, I diet to, like, 108, and then I cut the rest in water. Yeah, so my diet's pretty strict. So the good thing about the plant-based thing is, though, normally when I would walk at, like, between 120 and 125 is when I was eating meat. The other day, so let's see, I fought in January, and normally, you know, we all blow up after fights, right? I didn't blow up. I actually lost weight. I'm walking at between like 114 and like 117 right now. And I feel strong. Like, I don't feel weak. I really don't feel like any different other than my cardio is better.
That's really good. That's really good that all you have to do is change your diet, because a lot of people kill themselves with the water cut. And if you're just doing that with the diet and then just cutting a little bit off at the water weight, you should feel a lot better.
I feel like so we have you know, Savannah and Alyssa on our team, and we take you know, we take photos all the time, and you know, depending on where we're standing, we all kind of look like the same size. And Savannah fights at 25, Alyssa fights at 15, and I fight at 105. So I've actually had problems with girls not wanting to take fights, like catch weight fights and stuff with me, because they think I'm big. But I'm actually like significantly smaller than both of them. Like, and you don't really realize that when we're standing next to each other, but then like you'll see like a picture or a video of us actually training together, and you're like, and you see like our leg size difference, you know, our arm size difference, you know, just like, you know, limbs and stuff, and you're like, okay, we're all the same height, but like I'm just tiny.
Yeah, because Savannah looks shorter than you, doesn't she?
Yeah, I mean, it's hard to tell from pictures, but apparently people think I'm huge as a 105er, but I'm really not. I'm long, I'm lanky for 105, but that's about it.
Yeah, you're pretty tall for a 105er, that's for sure.
Yeah, I'm almost 5'4". I'm like 3 3/4, but we just go with 5'4".
5'4", all right. Yeah, that works. Ooh, puppies. I like puppies.
Come here, buddy. This is our new doggo.
That is not a puppy. That is a dog. That is a full grown.
He's 5 months old.
Oh, wow. That's a big dog.
He's a puppy. I am a
Aww.
He's a lap dog, too.
Oh, you might want to stop that before he gets too big, because then...
You give him some coffee and stunt his growth. Oh, trust me, this dog does not need caffeine. He's a nut job.
And he's a baby? Yeah.
Yeah.
So...
baby.
Aww.
He is a big baby. We'll put this in the fridge.
So, I wanted to ask you about your MMA career. How did you, or how old were you when you even thought about starting MMA? Or did you start like doing other sports at a younger age?
So I've always played sports. I mostly played softball. I mean, like you name it, I've done it. I think I played just about anything except for tennis, and probably the worst tennis player in the world. I played softball pretty much my whole life. It like wasn't my passion. I had a good arm, and that was about it. I was really slow. So in high school, I decided, my friend like talked me into soccer. I played a year soccer, and And then I went back to softball in high school. And then I actually had a horse. I loved to ride, and my interests are all over the place. So that's what says a lot about my passion for MMA, because I have had a ton of things that I've liked to do, but I've never had anything that I loved to do. And so after softball, I ended up doing track and cross country, and I was really slow. My dad I'd be running around first base, and my dad would be like, "I'd hook your caboose." So I did that, and then like my parents went to my first meet, and they were like, I was in the elite, I was like in the beginning of the pack of like 99 girls, and my mom and dad were like, "What happened?" One day it just clicked, and I got really fast, and I had really good endurance, and I think that actually really translated into my MMA, especially my grappling. So when I was in high school, my sister took me to an MMA class that she was actually taking for self-defense. It was out in Evergreen Park. It was called Academy of Self-Defense. I don't know if you've ever heard of it. No. It's called ASD. They have a few fighters, but it's a gym based for like firefighters, mostly people working in the medical field, that type of thing. Don't push my phone, please. And so I started there. My very first class, I passed out.
Like from exhaustion?
I was hitting pads, and I was holding my breath. Because I never hit pads before. I didn't know what I was doing. And I was like, what is this? This is amazing. Nothing had ever really tested me like that before. So I really liked it. Okay, stop, baby. You want water? You have drinks in the fridge, babe. All right, sorry. So when I did that class, sorry, I got distracted.
You can get her the water. It's okay. We can edit this, so it's cool.
I got it. I tried to have everything right here that she might ask me for.
Smart move. Smart move.
Where was I at? The class. Okay, so I did. My sister paid for like a month for me to go, so I was doing just like kickboxing classes. And at the end of that month, they let me spar with one of the guys. And he was really nice. Like, he wasn't like a sparring. It was like me trying to beat him up because I didn't know what I was doing, and him just kind of like moving around, letting me beat him up, And I was like, oh my goodness, I love this. And this was before I'd even gotten into grappling. And at that time, I had the horse, so I couldn't afford to pay for board as well as MMA. So I gave up the MMA stuff, and then just did high school sports, finishing off. Graduated early, was working 2 jobs. I actually worked at a bar, and that's where I met Danny. Neither of us drank, and that's how we ended up talking to each other, because he was at a bar, and I was like, why aren't you drinking? And he was there to watch UFC fights. Well, him and his best friend were there. One was doing managing the Orland gym, and Danny was managing Forest Park gym. And of course, I thought he was cute, so I gave him my number. But so after I gave him my number, it was actually mainly because I was looking for an MMA gym to get back into. I had some money, I wasn't doing any sports. I wanted to get competitive again. So I actually started at his friend's gym, but Danny took me on a date, and then so I trained at the Orland gym for about like a month and a half, and then I switched over to Forest Park. I got really into grappling, started competing in grappling. A year later, I got pregnant, and I was like, I'm never gonna compete again. This is, I finally found what I really love, and now I can't do it, and blah, blah, blah. And about a year after I had Reagan, I was like, screw it, I'm gonna fight. So I took my first fight and lost, and that was really, it was hard, but like, I remember I was in the cage, and I knew I lost, I didn't get my head raised, but I had the biggest smile on my face. I was like, I want to do that again. My first fight was against a girl who was ranked number 5 in the world for wrestling. Okay, so.
Your first fight?
Just throw that out there.
Oh.
So she was used to competing on huge stages and all this stuff, and I'm like, oh my god, my knees are shaking. I just had a baby. But my jiu-jitsu was good, so it saved me from getting finished. Anyways, her coach was like, came up to me after the fight and he was like, your jiu-jitsu's really good. He's like, do you want to come train with us? And I was like, sure. So I've actually gone out to her gym. It's called SFS in Michigan. She's from Amanda Cooper's gym.
Okay.
And like Josh Parisian, he was on the Ultimate Fighter. That type of, so I made a lot of good contacts. I ended up going to a female mega camp that I got to bring my teammates with. We got to train with Andrea KJB, Miranda Maverick, obviously Amanda Cooper, just like a bunch of like really high level girls. So I made some really good contacts through that. And then I just continued to fight.
Goodness Pancake Mix, not a sponsor.
Please don't push my phone.
It's fun having kids, huh?
Yes. She's actually being pretty good right now. I'm surprised she's not more hyper after like she finally feels good. Yesterday all she did was sleep. So yeah, that's basically how I got into it. I've just been competitive my whole life, and I love MMA because I can test myself. I don't like easy fights. I like hard fights. I mean, obviously I care about my record, but like right now I really want to see where I'm good, where I'm not good, things I need to work on. I eventually would like to be the best in the world. I mean, you know, we always have that thing in our back of our minds, like that's kind of a big stretch, but the only way to get to that point is to test yourself against really good people. And I feel like I have the right mindset for that, so hopefully one day I get to achieve that.
I like what you just said, because a lot of people nowadays in the MMA world, whether it's amateur or pro, they're trying to pad their records just so when they do go pro, or even if they're trying to go to a bigger organization after they're pro and they're like 4-0. That's why sometimes when they get to the big stage, they get demolished because they padded their records so much. And you doing that as an amateur, it shows a lot about you trying to improve yourself instead of just trying to pad your record.
Yeah, thank you. I mean, the first girl I fought was an amazing wrestler. The second girl I fought, she didn't have a lot of technique, but she was a lot bigger than me, so I fought people bigger than me. The third girl I fought had 11 fights, and I only had 2. The fourth girl I fought really, really sick. I had norovirus, and I was like crapping blood for like hours before the fight, and I shouldn't have fought. But I went 5 rounds with her until I got kicked in the stomach. And she was a really good boxer from New Mexico. She's from like Amber Brown's gym. She trains with Nico Montano, those girls. She was legit. And then the last girl I fought was a really good grappler. So I've fought a lot. There's a girl I would really like to fight. There's 2 girls actually. Caitlin Radka, who I'm actually friends with on Facebook. She's a really nice girl. She's a really good ground game. And I feel like she would be a really good test for me on the ground, because I feel like I really haven't faced anyone who has a similar style of jiu-jitsu as me. And I feel like me and her are kind of similar in that area. And then this girl, Shelby Mraz, who I've been trying to fight, she's actually fighting a girl I know, was supposed to in March, but all the cards around here got canceled because of the coronavirus outbreak. But, so she's someone I want to fight because she's a southpaw, and not very often do you come across that. I believe she's like more of like a Muay Thai specialist, and that's something I fell in love with lately is Muay Thai. And I also need to work on my defense against someone in their right lead. So that's another person I would really like to fight. There was a couple of the girls that I wanted to fight, but they're all going pro now, so I'm sure I'll meet them there at some point. But those are the 2 kind of like on my radar right now. And I reached out to Shelby in person. We tried to get her on a different card, but it was actually 4-fight card entertainment. But her coach couldn't get there in time. It was like I had a girl pull out. We tried to get her in, and then I hurt my foot in my last fight, so I was going to fight her in March, but my foot wasn't ready, so she took a girl that I know to fight against her, but then it got canceled anyways. So, so we'll see when I get to fight again. With all these things going on, it seems like cards are kind of being a little more hesitant to put people on them because they don't want to spend money and then, get shut down. So, I can't even grapple because grappling competitions are closed down to like the Pan Ams and just everything. So I guess right now all of us fighters kind of just get to, enjoy training, enjoy falling in love with MMA and not just having the competition aspect of it, get strong, lift, that type of thing. But I do have some girls on my radar that I'd really like to fight. I want to hope that I can get 2 more fights in before the end of the year. I wanted to be really active, but I don't think that the commission in the state's going to really allow that for that this year. So
yeah, I think everything's closed until like May 1st.
And we'll see if that even changes. Yeah. So I'm hoping this is something that just blows over. I personally have to be careful because of my immune suppression issues, but I'm still going to be in the gym. I'm still going to be training. I'm just going to be extra careful. That is what it is.
So with the whole thing with the virus going on, how is Intercept MMA dealing with all this?
So recently we have spent a couple $100s on high-end cleaning products. Obviously we can't really force anybody to not come in if they're sick. But the main thing is I know we had a couple guys going out of country, which made me a little nerve-wracking because most of the transmissions were from people, leaving and coming out of the country and, that type of thing. So mainly just if you have any signs, you're coughing or anything, really, realistically, if you're coughing and you're sneezing, don't come into the gym. I don't care if it's a common cold. There's no reason. We've got people cutting weight, constantly. There's always people competing. There's no reason you should be coming in with snotty noses, It's one thing if you're just teaching. It's another thing if you're rubbing bodies. We're as an MMA gym, we're basically just a giant petri dish as it is, So right now, nothing is closed, nothing is canceled. We are continuing as usual, and it seems like everybody that's on the team and just our students in general are very aware of what's going on. I don't think that anyone would really jeopardize us. The one thing is our gym is not. Ooh, there we go. There goes the water. Thanks, Reagan. The one thing that jeopardizes gyms, gyms can be a source of income. And when you close those down, you jeopardize the fact that we would have to find another source of income, Now, I'm not just saying those personally. I'm talking about just, private gyms in general. It's a big deal. Don't make a mess, please. Private gyms in general can end up closing down. Then you lose your gym family, you lose your gym home. So I think it's just getting people to still support the gyms. I kind of posted an article about this on my Facebook last night. Still supporting your gym and being careful so that you don't ruin not only someone's income but your own home. Our gym's like a family,
It's like a little community.
Yeah, exactly. It is a little community, and it's very important to a lot of people. I know if you walked into our gym and you asked anybody how Intercept affects their life, I know there's a lot of people that, Danny has changed a lot of lives through our gym. And I think that it's very important that we take care of each other. And one way of doing that is by staying safe, keeping yourself clean, not coming in when you're sick, that type of thing. And if we do have a problem, you know, we'll close it until everything dies off, and then we'll have to come up with a plan. But for right now, everything's open. Just asking everybody that if they're sick, please do not come in, even if it's just a sniffle.
Did you guys personally like email everybody and like talk to your team about it?
Did we talk to our team about it?
Yeah.
I mean, we didn't really have like a sit-down discussion. We bring it up a lot, you know, just it comes up just about every single day we're in the gym. I think that the guys, I mean, and the girls, but most of the guys, you know, all of us girls are pretty careful. But I think they respect Danny a lot, and I don't think that they would jeopardize us. Now, I would be more concerned about the students who just, you know, just come there just to get a workout in. Whereas like the fighters are wanting to be careful because they want to compete, they don't want to get sick, nor do they want to get their teammates sick, because if their teammates are sick, then they don't have anybody to train with. So, I think that it's more of just like an awareness for the student base. But again, fighters will train sick because they're like, I have to train, you know. We're just asking them that if they are to train at home or somebody else's gym.
I thought you were gonna show me your home gym.
Oh yeah, I gotta do that. I'm gonna turn my Wi-Fi off really quick because otherwise I'm gonna lose you.
Okay, that's fine. Yeah. Just
right,
turn the camera back.
Go outside, Chris.
Yeah. Oh.
It's what, 2 o'clock and she's still in pajamas?
Hey, that's not a bad thing. Don't worry.
All right. So.
Oh my. That's awesome.
Sorry. We've got a lot of junk going on here because it's been too cold to train in here. But we got a bag. We've got, this is my hated weight cutting device. We got a treadmill, we got a bench, we've got all sorts of stuff, wall padding. That actually my private like striping instructor actually had these in his house, and then he moved, so he gave us all this. These are all homemade. They're really nice.
That's awesome.
So we actually have had, oh great, my dog's peeing on the mat.
Thank you to the creative mind, Dante Rohel, for coming up with Manny's logo. I appreciate all the hard work you did. And man, check him out at @Drogalart on all social media sites, Instagram, Facebook, everywhere. And check out his pyro work. His artistic mind is creative as Check him out. Cause he has some, not only, I don't even know what that pyro work's called, but that dope. He like burns pictures into wood. Like I didn't even know that was a thing. But it's dope. Check him out at Drogalart. He's got some amazing pyro work. He's got some creative paintings. He does artwork. If you need anything for your family members, for like presents, birthdays, anything, hasta quinceañeras, I think. Check him out and support a fellow paisa, por favor.
So we've actually had like pro fighters, like Shorty Torres has come here and given me private lessons.
Awesome.
Danny has private lessons in here. We've had large groups of pro fighters. I actually have, I don't know if you know who Chelsea LaGrasse is. She actually reached out to me the other day. She was doing the interviews for the Ohio Combat League. She's a pro 105er. She reached out to me and said she wanted to come out and train. So this is like one of those things, like people can stay with us, and then we can have private sessions in the garage.
That's very convenient, that's for sure.
Yeah, so in the summertime, this is like really awesome. We have like a ton of of space out here. So Danny will throw like tires out here. We have a steel mace. We have ropes and all sorts of stuff. So this whole area becomes like a strength and conditioning area. So it's actually it's pretty nice. I have 2 gyms.
You have something that a lot of amateurs wish they had.
Yeah, right? I'm very lucky.
Yes.
My husband built this specifically for me because when I had Reagan, I couldn't get to the gym all the time. I didn't have a car. So I have awesome training partners, Alyssa and Savannah, who used to come out here 2 to 3 times a week and actually train with me.
And those are some badass girls.
What?
And those 2 are some badass girls.
Oh yeah, we've got some BA girls. I like
Oh, sorry.
I cussed for
wait.
one in Illinois.
I apologize if I cuss in front of your daughter. I'm saying that right now because I cuss a lot.
Oh. That's the worst thing she's ever heard. she's growing up in a gym.
Oh yeah.
Come on, babe, let's go inside.
So I want to get to that too. Being a mother. So being an MMA fighter in general is one of the toughest jobs you can have, because not only do you have to find a way to get income, but you got to find time to train, time to like have time for family, time to do all sorts of things. But being a mother on top of that, which is what people call a full-time job in general, how do you have time to train and do everything you need to prepare being a mother?
So it is.
Do you want to turn your Wi-Fi on?
Oh yeah, sorry.
Yeah. Thank you. So being a mother and an MMA fighter and a coach / gym owner / cook.
Yeah, teacher. This is it.
Teacher.
We're actually doing homeschool.
Oh, nice.
So that is. I mean, right now it's easy because she's preschool. But just makes it weird.
My kids are in preschool now, and trust me, all they do is like color, puzzles, and yeah.
Good job. Yeah, it's just matching letters, numbers.
Getting their fingers working. Yeah.
Sensory stuff, the easy stuff, right? So it is difficult, but honestly, like, I think if I was a working mom and had to come home, train, and then, or I probably wouldn't choose to train if I had to work. I would probably just come home and spend time with her. I wouldn't want to train. I wouldn't have my life any other way. It's difficult, and there's a lot of guilt surrounding it, and feeling like when I'm training, she should be going places and doing things and stuff like that. So there's a lot of guilt, but I also have to keep in mind that when we're home during the day not training, like I'm not at the gym teaching and stuff like that. Because when we're at the gym, we're there for about like 4 hours, but it also takes us 45 minutes to get there and 45 minutes to get back. So that's like half of our day, right? So in the morning, we do our preschool stuff, and then I take her to the library. Sometimes she plays with her cousins, stuff like that. We're part of some groups that she plays with. So she gets bored easily, but the people at the gym are great. They play with her. She actually prefers to play with adults than kids. Probably because they let her have her way, right?
Probably.
But it's a really hard balance. Sometimes I feel like if I'm being 100% honest, I have moments where I'm like, should I even be doing this? Am I wasting her childhood? Am I good enough to like actually follow this? Am I, there's a lot of doubt that surrounds being a mom and a fighter. I don't know if you've watched Fight Mom. It's on Fight Pass with Michelle Watterson.
Oh no, I didn't even know that was on there.
Yeah, it's called Fight Mom. Look it up. It's on Fight Pass. It's a really awesome interview. I like cried through the whole thing. So it's a struggle, but at the end of the day, like I think that I always have to compare it to like if I was working, I wouldn't be watching her grow. I wouldn't be helping her learn. I wouldn't. She wouldn't be at the gym with me as much. We'd have to change her whole schedule. I'd have to have all the classes during the day. That way I could be teaching during the day and then, you know, being with her at night and just, I don't know. It just, I like the way it is.
A lot of things would definitely change if you had just a 9 to 5 job.
Yeah, and as like a young mom, I don't feel like you very often get these opportunities. A lot of young moms have to work. A lot of the time, not all of them, but a lot of times they're single moms. And if I was a single mom, none of this would be possible. I know that for a fact. So I have the blessing of being able to follow my dreams, be with my daughter 24/7, whether it's at the gym or at home. It's pretty amazing. I do clean houses on the side to make some extra cash here and there, so I will get a sitter for that every once in a while. But like, a lot of the times the fights are all ages shows, so I can bring her with me, especially when we travel. That's the other reason why I homeschool, because if once, you know, I get to the pro level, granted I get there, I want her to come with me. I want her to travel with me. I want her to be at my fights, even if she has to stay in a hotel room with my mom, you know, I want her there. And she gets to experience things, but we make trips out of it. You know, we go places, she sees things, you know, she gets to go places that most kids wouldn't be able to because they'd have to stay with grandma during the week so that they could go to school. You know what I mean? Homeschool, I can pack your stuff up, then we go, you know. Doesn't mean it'll always be like that, but that's the goal.
That's really surprising because a lot of like fathers I know don't let their like sons and daughters come because they don't want to let them see them fight. But you're the total opposite.
Yeah. Yeah, I mean, this is my life. I don't want to keep her from it. I know it might be hard to watch, and if she doesn't want to watch it, she doesn't have to. But I want to give her the choice on whether she wants to watch or not. I don't think that fighting is a malicious thing. I think it's a sport. I think that martial arts, whether you're competing or not, shows a strength that no other sport can teach. And whether she wants to do it or not, I want her to see it. I want her to see what her mom is capable of. I want her to respect me. I want her to be proud of me. I want her to be like, yeah, that's my mom. Win or lose, like I'm not a quitter, and I want her to see that. I want her to know that no matter what she doesn't quit. I just think there's a lot you can learn from it. And I know I don't have anything against people who don't want their kids to see that. I mean, that's their choice. I just think that I don't think there's anything wrong with her watching it. It's controlled chaos in a way, you know, and it's not like I'm going out on the street and beating people up because I'm aggressive. You know what I mean? She knows that this is controlled and a sport, and she loves to do it. Every single time I'm at the gym, she throws her gloves on and starts hitting the bags, and then she asks the guys to hold pads for her, and then she gets on them and wrestles them, and you know, she's learning, and she knows, like, Reagan, when are you allowed to use your punches? When are you allowed to use your punches? When? Tuesday and Saturday. Yeah, when we're at the gym, right? We don't ever hit people outside, right? Outside of the gym? Unless it's mommy and daddy. Right? Marvel's eating your sticks. All right, right. So yeah, so she.
I love how she knows the schedule.
What?
I love how she knows the schedule.
I know, right? He missed Thursday, but yes, Tuesday and Saturdays are the days that we're there. Tuesday, Thursday, Saturday.
So,
You want to talk to him?
hi baby. How old are you? 3? Oh, my boys are 4 and 5.
Say, I'm going to be 4
I'm before.
Aw.
in March 29th.
Oh, nice. So she's about to be 4. Yeah, my oldest turned 5 on March 1st, and my youngest turned 4 on February 26th.
Oh, nice. Good
Yeah.
babies.
Yeah. So, I noticed you started getting a little emotional when you were talking about your daughter and how you want to make her proud. Is that kind of what drives you to show her, like, hey, we can do this too? Women can be just as badass as any other guy.
Yeah, she's definitely. Hold on, I'm gonna move away from the farm noises. She's definitely one of the main reasons that I do what I do. Obviously, my passion is the number one thing that drives me. I feel like without a goal, a dream, a passion, you're never gonna go far. You can be really good at something and really talented, but without passion, it means nothing. And hard work. I mean, hard work beats talent any day, and I feel like hard work comes from passion. And I'm very passionate about her. I'm very passionate about MMA. I'm very passionate about my family and my husband. And my husband, I mean, he's probably the number one person I want to make proud. He's my coach. He's my support system. When I have, friends or family who, have a lot to say or not say about what I'm doing, he's always my backbone. When someone's like, oh, well, do you want to just get your face bashed in? And, Danny's the first person to pop up in the background, like, like he's always there to support me, and I want to make him proud. I love this sport, and I know that he has a lot to offer me. And I just want to show him that I can do what he teaches me, and that I can do it well. So emotional wise, yes, for Reagan, but I also want her to see that moms can be their own person too. You can be loving and be the best mom in the world and still be really good at something. You don't just have to be really good at being a mom. And yes, we battle with, should I just be a mom? She's only 3. Should I be just focusing on that? But then where's your happiness? Like, you can be happy being just a mom, right? Mm-hmm. But don't you like to see mommy train and fight? Right? You do? Mm-hmm. Yeah, make you happy. And I'll be like training with one of the girls, and she'll be like, "Get her, mom, get her."
That's awesome. That is awesome.
Yeah, she's my little cheerleader, but I think it makes her happy when she's got a happy mom. If you're just kind of happy and you're just getting through day to day, you can't be the best mom that you can be if you're not 100% happy. And competing in martial arts gives me that happiness, and I feel like I can be a better mom because of that.
And that's a great way to look at it. And I could tell you love your daughter very much, and I could see you and your husband have a great teamwork dynamic, which works for your family. But you also touched upon that other people in your family might not see eye to eye with what you're doing.
Yeah, I think it's hard for my siblings to see me get hit, but I think it's also a misunderstanding of how this sport works. It's a give and take kind of thing. It's not like I just get to go in there and like beat someone up that doesn't want to beat me up back.
Like, did you not see Joanna's face this weekend?
Yeah, and they've seen me get really sick. Do that somewhere else. They've seen me get really sick, with my lupus stuff, and I've almost died a few times. So they're not a big fan of the weight cuts, but I don't think they realize that I do it in a very safe way in comparison. I mean, no weight cut is safe at the end of the day, but I do it in a very safe way compared to most fighters, which is why I'm not always the most jacked looking fighter, because the more muscle you have, the heavier you weigh, you know? But I mean, the denser you are, the easier water comes off. But I'm not trying to lose water, you know? I'm trying to diet, I'm trying to be safe. So I think that that's one of the reasons why they don't really support that. They don't like the weight cut. I think that with some people, not necessarily family, there's a lot of jealousy that surrounds it. Their lives are a little bit different than mine, so they have to focus on other things, and they don't get to focus on things they love. So I think there's a lot of unhappiness in their own life, and when people see other people thriving, you know, people tend to say negative things. But that used to really bother me, and it used to be something that I talked about a lot, and right now I really don't care. I'm just really happy.
That's amazing. That's a good way to look at it.
I mean, I'm happy, my kid's happy. My husband may not be really happy with working 2 jobs, but I think he enjoys seeing me be happy, which says a lot about our relationship. I know a lot of people, especially married couples, when one person has to do a lot of the blunt of everything. What do you need? Okay, go ahead and do it then. All right, I'll set it up for you. I think that when people are married and they have to do a majority of the work in the marriage, a lot of the time there's a lot of resentment. And one thing that I feel like that's not in it. I mean, obviously every marriage has their issues, but I feel like the main thing is that he doesn't resent me. He works the 2 jobs that he works so that I can stay home, so I can train, so I can follow my dreams. So Reagan has her mom every single day. You know, he wants to see both of us happy. And I don't think you see that a lot in relationships anymore. I don't think you see a lot of men or women willing to give up like 99% of their day to make their significant other happy. I feel like this day and age, everything is, you know, I should be happy, only me. I should be happy without someone. And I don't always, you know, believe that. Like, I agree, I think everyone should be happy without a significant other, but I feel like it gets kind of warped into a thing where, like, it's very selfish. And that's something I don't have to worry about in my relationship, so that helps me in my training, knowing that Danny's not sitting there like, ugh, she gets to train and I don't, because any of you who knows Danny knows that he is a phenomenal fighter. Like, I can't even tell if he's a better coach or a better fighter, because he's a really freaking good coach. Good job, babe. But when you see Danny, like, Danny will, like, not train for months, and then all of a sudden he'll have, like, a pro fighter come in, or he'll travel somewhere and have to jump in, and he'll just make people look silly. Like, I'm like, okay, you haven't been doing timing stuff or doing anything for months, and all of a sudden you just made, like, some 15-2 pro guy look like an amateur. Like, he's giving up a lot to let me live my dreams. This guy, if he didn't have so many injuries and I'm telling you, man, in UFC, like, he's good. He's no joke.
But you keep saying,
I say that biasly, but
you keep saying that he's giving up his dreams. But what if it's his dream to watch you make it?
I think it may have changed to that. I don't think that was always his dream. He told me that years ago when he was training under Deon Ricardo, and Deon, they were talking about life and stuff, and he was like, Danny, did you ever get married or something like that? And Danny made a joke. He's like, the only person I'm marrying is the cage. That's how much Danny loved fighting. This was long before me. When we met, Danny was a different person. He was a year sober. He was drinking a lot before, cutting like 17 pounds in a day by, starving himself, drinking, just not doing the right things. He changed his whole life around. And then a year after he was sober, he had his pro debut, knocked the guy out in like 22 seconds.
Oh, nice.
And it wasn't like, the guy wasn't a scrub. His name was Michael Hayden. He's actually gone on to win, quite a few since then. But like, Danny has potential to be like one of the best in the world. But I think his dream now is to become a coach of people who are the best in the world, not just me. I know he loves his fighters so much. Pierre just fought his professionally this last weekend, and he won by second round TKO. And I've never seen Danny so happy. We're trying to get him on Bellator 244.
Is that the guy that you keep posting about? I see it everywhere now. I've seen a couple people share the, hey, Bellator, get him on your Chicago card.
Yeah, we're trying to advocate for that.
Kind of trying to bully them into it.
One of the guys he fought a couple fights ago actually just got signed with Bellator. So we're hoping to get him on there. But like I said, like the type of team we have, like I feel like a lot of MMA teams, like everyone's competing against each other. Like especially if there's a lot of people in the same weight classes, it's like no, I want to be the best. No, I want to be the best. Like we don't have that in our gym. It's like we all just want to see each other like get to where we want to be. And we all have different, aspirations. Like I think Alyssa wants to fight in Bellator. I want to fight in Invicta. Some of the guys want to be kickboxers. Some of the guys want to be in the UFC. Some of them might want to be in one championship. Like it's just everyone has something different, But every single one of us wants each other to get there. There's no like, oh, I want to be better than you at this, at this weight class. There's none of that in our gym. And I think that separates us from a lot of the other gyms, and I think that's why we grow every single fight. You see a lot of gyms where the fighters fight the same way every single fight. And with our fighters, you see a different fighter every single time they come into the cage. So I think it's because we help each other with our strengths and weaknesses. We don't just do the same thing in the gym all the time. It's not us trying to beat each other up. It's not us trying to, win rounds. It's us trying to grow together.
So nobody really has an ego when they come into the gym with you guys, like other gyms.
No, and if they do, they usually get weeded out pretty fast.
Hey, that's good, because now a lot of gyms are like, hey, as long as they're paying. But that's what I think is wrong with a lot of the bigger gyms. They let the egos kind of split the teams apart.
Yeah, and I think a lot of that happens too because of the coaching. Fighters follow their leaders. And if you have an egotistical leader, or you have a leader that thinks that they're better or they know more than someone else, like for instance, there's some gyms that don't let their people cross train. Danny's like, go ahead. He's like, if you're lacking something here and you need help in it, and you feel I can't offer that to you, or you just want to get different looks, he's like, go. He's like, I mean, you're always welcome back here. Like, if you need to go train somewhere else for a little while, go train somewhere else. Do you want to cross train? Cross train. He's like, as long as Danny's on the same page with their coach, and they let Danny know ahead of time, and Danny talks to their coach to make sure that it's a good environment, Danny's like, go, do it. I mean, I think that fighters that have egos, have them because their leaders allow it. And a lot of the times that happens because a coach will only spend time and invest in a couple specific fighters, and the rest of them just kind of fall off. and then they're fighting each other for attention. They're fighting each other for like who's better, instead of a coach treating everybody the same, despite whether they're amateur, professional, making lots of money, not making any money, just on the comp team because they don't even want to compete, but they're good enough to be on the comp team. You know what I mean? You don't see that a lot in MMA gyms, especially now that you see a lot of like big mainstream fighters with all these egos. What they also don't see is that's for fighting. That's for making money. A lot of those guys really aren't like that in real life. I mean, there are a couple that are, but they're doing that to make money. But people see that and they're like, oh, I want to be like that. And then there's just giant jerks. And then they're jerks to their teammates. So those are the people that don't go far. They might get to a certain point and then, you have to be surrounded by good people and people who, want to see you get better. So
it's funny you mentioned. It's funny you mentioned that because I actually had Tariq Estrada. I actually posted his interview like last week, and he was telling me that he cross trains at your gym, and not a lot of gyms not only not let their fighters go out, but they don't let a lot of fighters come in to train with them. Like,
well, yeah, and Tariq actually fought Amin from our gym. So,
wow.
Yeah, they train together now. Yeah, just like when I fought Christy, I train with her. So, and I talked to Kara Bislowski. I asked her, I'm like, hey, if you ever want to cross train, we're all on the same path. We're all trying to get to the same place. And once we fight each other, who cares? Like, we're not doing this to hate each other,
That's
I think some people just have egos and they take it too far. And of course, I'm not going to train with every single girl I fought. There are some girls that I have no interest in training with. The last girl I fought, her and her sister, they're twins, me and Alyssa fought them. They were super cool. They want to come train with us. We were talking to them before the fight and after the fight. There's just no reason to be jerks.
So
I'm trying to use good language here.
How do you hype yourself up? Like me, I don't train anymore because I have a couple injuries, but I would kind of have to dislike them, I'm this dude up. Like, how do you get hyped?
Well, I mean, for me, what I tell myself basically before I fight is I know my capabilities. I know I'm better than you.
Cool.
I know I'm better than you in this area. And if I'm not better than you in this area, I'm better at defending in this area than you are at offensively doing this in that area. So I feel like there's a fine line between confidence and
cockiness.
And I don't know.
And cockiness.
Some people do. Some people have to get aggressive. Danny. So when Danny walks out with fighters, he tells each fighter something different. It's not. He doesn't say the same thing to everyone. Some of them need that they need to hear oh, this guy's gonna beat your ass, and they need to hear that because that pumps them up to go beat that guy's butt. For me, Danny says stuff about Reagan, Reagan's gonna be watching this. That's the kind of stuff he says to me. Each person needs to hear something different. Some people need to be lifted up. Some people need to say hey, this guy's gonna try to beat your ass, and then they need to hear that. Everybody's different, But for me personally, I need to positively talk myself in a comparison sense. I'm better at you than this. I'm better than you, like this. I don't do that with my teammates, but when it comes to competition, I do. And even if I do it with my teammates, it's usually because it's all right, I need to work on this, so I'm going to work with you because you are better than me at this. So, that type of thing. So, Sorry, mailman, the dogs get crazy.
No worries.
But yeah, so I feel like for you, when you were saying like, oh, I need to like, I don't think that's wrong. Like, I just think that that's what gets you going. That's what gets you, you know, to, I mean, I just think that afterwards, at the end of the day, I don't think there's, I mean, it's just a sport. It's just like if you were playing soccer at the end of the game, everyone gives each other high fives, you know, like,
Yeah.
that's
Yeah.
how it is, you know, like, it's not like, you know,
Okay.
I don't know, I'm going with this.
Yeah. No worries, Anna. All right, we're running a little short on time, but I want to get you out there more. So, do you have any sponsors or any family members or anything you want to shout out, anything you want to plug? I know there's no fights in Illinois right now, but is there anything in your future that you kind of want to get out there to kind of promote?
So if you want to follow me, I'm very, very active on social media. So on Instagram, I am BJJ_mama. And then I also have a fighter page. I prefer people follow me on my fight page, not my personal page. I mean, obviously like you and like promoters, stuff like that I had. But like, especially like strangers and stuff, because I don't really post Reagan so much on those. It's more of just strictly fight stuff and camp stuff. So that is Anna the Honey Badger Summers on Facebook. I don't have Twitter or anything like that, but I do have a main sponsor that I'm going to be collaborating with to do actual like clothing and stuff. It's called Betty Grapple. They have, their site is grapbetty.com, and they are awesome. They're just starting off kind of, but they have some really cool stuff. And then Trials and Tribulations by Matt Quigley. That's another person I'm working with clothing wise. They're two very different. Trials and Tribs is very like grungy and more my style, and Grab Buddy is more like retro. And I have like two very different styles that I like to, you know, work with. I'm a very interesting person, dressy wise. but they're awesome, and I really want to get them out there, especially Grapple Buddy, because they're just starting off, and they're not really big in the MMA community. They're more in the jiu-jitsu community, which is really hard to get out there. Trials and Tribs gets a decent amount of viewage, but they're really, really awesome, and Matt Quigley is really supportive, and he's getting me hooked up with a sports psychiatrist, and I'm just really grateful for both of them. And then of course my husband and my training partners, specifically Alyssa, Linduska, Oscar Guardo, Christian Sam Martin, Tyler Jones, and then of course Paul Reinhardt and Danny, my husband. Paul has tremendously grown my Muay Thai game and my kickboxing game. If you watch my last fight versus my first fight, you'll see that. And then, of course, Danny, just overall being my support system, my coach, my rock, my supporter, just everything. I'm just really thankful for all of them.
And we can't forget, if you're looking into any MMA training, check out Intercept MMA if they're in your area. And Anna the Badger Summers, the fighter, the cook, the mom, the teacher. Thank you for being on Coming Up with Manny, and I appreciate it. Hopefully you enjoyed it.
All right, thank you so much.
Yep.
Say bye, Reagan.
Bye, Reagan. Hopefully you enjoyed this interview with Anna the Honey Badger Summers. And if you liked it, click like. If you want to subscribe, and punch that bell, and comment down below if you have anything to say. If you're a fighter, drop your name. Maybe we'll want to interview you. Enjoy the interview. Enjoy the interview. And enjoy the interview. Enjoy the interview.
I just like crazy music underneath it. I don't need that many enjoys the interviews. Okay? Now do an outro, god dang it.
Enjoy the interview!